Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into some really interesting source material. It's all about a very modern way to approach creative work and maybe making some money from it.
Yeah, that's right. We're looking at how people are actually using AI, artificial intelligence, to create children's books. And the specific angle is often about building up a sort of passive income stream.
Okay, right. So let's unpack that. What we're trying to do here is understand how this actually works, the mechanics of it,
Hmm.
and figure out why it's getting so much attention now. And maybe the big question, what do the sources really say about the potential versus like the actual work involved
Yeah.
beyond just that passive income label?
Okay. So the core idea, what the source material describes is basically using these AI tools, the ones that are pretty common now, to, well, automate a big chunk of the creative process.
Exactly. Like instead of spending ages writing a story, you could use something like ChatGPT or Claude. You give it a prompt, maybe something really specific like, I don't know, a story about a small, brave cat who's an astronaut exploring Saturn, and bam, it gives you a draft story. Pretty quickly, too.
And it's not just the words, is it? The sources really highlight using AI image generators, too. Things like MidJourney or maybe DLLE for the illustrations, which for kids' books are obviously super important.
Okay, so you've got AI doing the story, AI doing the pictures. Suddenly you have the raw material for a book. But getting from that to actual income,
Yeah.
how do the sources say that part works?
Well, that's where platforms like Amazon's KDP come in. Kindle Direct Publishing.
Oh, right, KDP.
The sources talk about formatting all that AI content, making it look like a proper book and then just uploading it there.
And this is where it gets quite different from the old way, isn't it? Because once it's on KDP, your book is out there on Amazon, everywhere. Right. Digital, print on demand.
Print on demand is key.
Yeah. So you completely skip the old gatekeepers, the publishers, the agents, and you don't have the headache and cost of printing thousands of copies yourself and storing them in your garage or whatever.
And what's really fascinating looking at the sources is the strategy. It's not just about making one book. It seems to be about scale.
Scale, meaning?
Making lots of books and focusing them on really, really specific niches, like super targeted.
Okay, like what? Give me an example. What kind of niches are we talking about?
Well, the material mentions things like mindfulness books, but specifically for toddlers, or maybe bilingual stories, but only for certain language combinations, or animal stories that sneak in some basic science concepts.
Oh, interesting.
The idea seems to be finding a very particular audience, something parents might actually search for on Amazon. They use an example like the mindful dinosaur, something with keywords built right in.
Right, discoverability. And the big hook here, the reason people are interested, is that passive income potential. The sources definitely suggest that, once a book is up and selling, it could keep earning royalties over time without you constantly working on that specific book anymore.
Yeah, they even brought up a case study in the source material. Someone apparently reported making over, $3,000 in 1 month
Wow.
from books that had only been live for about 6 months, all made using these AI methods.
Okay, hold on. $3,000 a month, 6 months in, using AI. That sounds incredibly tempting.
Yeah.
But the sources do add a pretty big caveat there, don't they? It's not
Yeah.
quite just push button, make money.
Oh, absolutely not. The sources are very clear on this. Yes, the AI speeds things up massively, but it's definitely not some get-rich-quick magic button. The human element is still vital. It just changes the kind of work you do.
So
You still have to guide the AI, right? You
Yeah.
have to refine the story it spits out. You have to curate the images, pick the best ones, make sure they're consistent, good quality.
it's less about being the writer hunched over a keyboard for months or the artist at a drawing board. More about being a kind of editor, a curator, maybe even a market strategist.
Exactly that. The sources really stress needing a good eye for formatting, for quality control, and crucially, really understanding the market, what parents or kids in that tiny niche actually want and will click buy on. You've got to know your audience.
It really does sort of flip the traditional idea of being an author on its head. So, okay, bringing this back to you listening, we've seen how this strategy works, right? Use AI for the content, use platforms like KDP to bypass old hurdles, target tiny niches, aim for scale, and hope for that passive income over time.
But also, and this is key from the sources, knowing that hope relies on a new kind of creative input. It's about that curation, the refinement, the smart positioning in the market. It's not no work, just different work.
So considering everything we've sort of unpacked from the source material here, maybe a final thought to leave you with is this. With tools now able to generate stories and art so easily, and platforms letting anyone publish almost instantly, How is our very definition of author or creator going to keep changing? What skills, based on these sources, seem most important for actually succeeding in this new landscape? Something to mull over.